how to improve your page speed coming up next. I hope you guys are doing awesome today. We're gonna talk about a topic that I found very fun to do, which is improving your page speed. This is more like a hands-on tutorial. I'm gonna guide you through the specific tips that I applied myself in my own website, which was really lame. When I started it had a very poor rating from Google. Let's take a look to those tips. Come with me. Let's go. Let's go, guys. Let's go. What happened? You don't want to come with me? Come on. So before starting this tutorial, let me remind you to subscribe to my channel so you can get more content. Just go ahead to my channel, search Millennial Breed on the YouTube search box and click subscribe. And once that you click that, click this bell button so you can get the notifications. Make sure you check this box and hit save and you're good to go. First thing first, what are we using to measure the site speed? Well, we're using a tool from Google called Page Speed Inside. You can Google that right away, and this is the tool from the Google developers forum. Just go ahead and click that, and right off the bat, it will ask you for the URL of your site. So that's just populate whatever is your site URL, and click Analyze. And after a few seconds, it will pop up your website. So as you can see right now, my website is on 68 out of 100. There's still work to do. And if you see by default, it's showing you the mobile one because as I mentioned on the previous video, Google is now prioritizing the mobile experience over the desktop simply because that's the one that it has gained much more importance due to the amount of users that are using mobile. Something that is really nice is that Google will give you a guideline or a guide. I mean, if you click here, learn more, you'll see what that specific item is about. In case you want to work in optimizing this, obviously these are already optimized. This is the optimization found. You'll be working mostly on this area and the possible optimizations following these insights that Google is telling you to address, right? So it's definitely a great tool, but don't rely just on page speed tool from Google. There's another tool that you have to check out, which is GTmetrix. Let me take a look. GTmetrix. This is also a great tool that you can use, and of course, such as the page speed tool from Google, Page Speed Insight. We have different line items or recommendations from GTmetrix. Similar, very similar to what we already addressed. And you can see here the Minify CSS, Minify HTML, inline small CSS, things like that. And optimize images, it will always show up there because there's always room to improve the compressions of your images, and leverage browser caching. Yeah, that's another great tool that you'll need to look when you're once that you start to do the page speed audit on your website. Very important. All right, tip number one is minify your CSS. First of all, let me give you a little bit of context about CSS. If you don't know anything about that, CSS is what makes the websites beautiful, or the look and feel pretty slick. So, for example, in my website, what CSS is basically doing is just defining what type of font I'm using, the spacing between the font, also the colors of the titles, the spacing between the image and the other titles. So it controls pretty much the formatting of the page, transparencies, and in some cases there are some buttons that are generated on CSS. So
In WordPress, we have themes actually they're very easy to install and to apply. And a theme is it's basically a CSS formatting file, right? So every theme is coded in a different way depending who's developing it or providing it. But basically, there is a way to make it more optimized, and that's by minifying it. And it might sound a little bit overwhelming, but it's really easy to do. You can minify your CSS theme code real quick. And actually, let's do that right now. So let's jump to the admin panel of WordPress, and I'll show you how to minify that. All right, we are in the admin panel. Let's jump to the appearance drop down, then uh, click on editor. Actually, you will notice that in my case, I have already minified my code. This is the CSS code for your theme. The theme that I'm using is Sydney. That's the name of the theme that I'm currently using on my website. So the only thing you need to do to minify your CSS on your website is to grab this code and paste it into the Minify service. Although one thing that I will suggest you, I strongly suggest you to make a backup of your current code before modifying it. So for doing that, it's really easy. Just click on the box here, then hit Control A to select all the code within this dialog box. So just hit Control C or right click copy and paste it on a notepad. And that's the easiest way to make a backup copy. If you have a different editor, we'll paste it on Sublime, Dreamweaver, whatever. It's your preference, and just save it to your computer, your desktop, so you have a copy of the original source code. So now the next thing we're gonna do to minify the code is you go to a Minify page called CSS Minifier. I'll show you how to search for that. It's really easy, and there's a lot of services out there to minify your CSS. The one that I'm using is the one on the top, CSS Minifier. Click that, and on this box, the code that we copied from your page, you'll paste it here, and just click Minify here. And on the box on the right, it will generate a Minify version of that code. It will take a few seconds to do that, right? And once that you have the code here displayed, just click on Select All, copy the code, same way we did from your website, and we're gonna paste it back on your site. Select everything as well to make sure that you select everything so you're copying it fully, and hit Control V, and finally update the file here. Let's hit that. Take a few seconds, and it says file edited successfully. So just to make sure, just to make sure everything is working correctly, let's hit on visit the site to make sure that nothing is broken. So you can see all is good. We don't have any funky styling errors popping up. So everything looks in place. And yeah, that's it. Tip number two, optimize your images. Okay, the easiest and fastest way to to bump up your page speed is to really take care of your images. And I didn't realize how bad I was doing with my images in terms of compression. I was using high resolution images, and that was directly affecting my website speed. As you notice, as soon as you land into my page, I have a big image, well, actually two images rotating in a slider. So that's the first thing that the website needs to load. So that those two images were not really optimized. And then after that, then I have the feature images for each one of my posts, and all of them were actually pretty heavy. The fastest way that you can do to optimize, there's a plugin out there that will make your life easier with it. So let's jump to the admin panel to show you what that plugin is, and that is EWWW Image Optimizer. It's really quick to install as any other plugin that you will install for WordPress. Just look uh, for that plugin with that name specifically, and install it. And as soon as you install it, it will give you the option to run the compression a job or the compression process on all the images that are hosted in your site, and I'll recommend you to do that. It won't take too much, maybe a few minutes to complete, and you can use the recommended settings. You don't have to. I mean, if you want to compress really or extremely your images, just be careful because if you compress the image too much, it will lose quality and it might look blurry or things like that. So just in my case, what I just did is to leave it as it comes. I didn't tweak any of the settings, and I think I got a very good result. The images are still looking good quality, and very optimized. So to run the compression of this image optimizer is real quick. Just click on bulk optimize, sorry, and uh, go ahead and click scan for an optimized image, and it will do the job for you on all the images that are hosted in your site. We'll start compressing it, and it will make your life easier. Another good thing that you can do to improve your images individually, aside from the bulk update on the bulk optimization, is to grab the images that are showing to be heavy still. Because one thing I noticed, even when I load the optimization process, the bulk optimization from the image optimizer, I was still getting images listed that needed to be compressed, right? So the thing that you can do is just grab those images individually. Let's say that, for example, this image here is telling me that this image in my site it still has some room for compression, right, to be optimized. So what you can do is just go to your to your WordPress site, search for that image on your media library. I'm gonna go there just to show you real quick and locate the image that Google Insight is telling you that requires to be optimized. Let's say if they say, okay, it's this one, then download the image. And once that you download the image, you'll go to this page, Minify Images. Click on that, and this is a great service because let's say that Google Insight is giving you like 10 images that you need to work. So you can go ahead and download those 10 images and upload them those 10 images in one batch. And once that you finalize to do that, just grab the images and upload them to your site. Those two tools together will help you to be in a much better way with your images. So definitely try this out, and hopefully you'll bump up your speed real quick. All right, tip number 3 is install W3 Total Cache and Cloudflare. So I know it sounds a little bit jargony, but W3 Total Cache is one of the plugins that you definitely have to have on your site because it will help with page caching, which basically means less work to your server to display the pages. So this is one of the plugins that actually requires setup, and it's quite long, the setup. Well, it's not difficult. It just take I don't know, around 10 to 20 minutes to get it done. But there's a wonderful blog post that will help you to set up each one of these sections within this plugin, and how to make the most out of this. So that blog post is this one. Mm, Um, the blog post is from Blogging Wizard. This is the one that I followed with it's a wonderful blog post because it will actually explain how you can optimize your site using these two, this plugin plus Cloudflare. Um, which just to give you an idea, Cloudflare is a service that called CDN, or Content Delivery Network, that allows to serve your website from different places. Like, imagine that someone in Japan wants to access your website, and your website server is it's let's say in the US. So it means that for that user, the website it'll take more to load because it needs to travel the request from the other side of the world up until this location. So the content delivery network actually address that problem by allowing your website to be set up in different geographical locations. So let's say if that same user from Japan wants to access your content, there will be a server closer to him, so that the page it's gonna be loaded faster. So hopefully that makes sense. But that's why it's important to use Cloudflare or a CDN service, right? These two works pretty well, and just I won't go through the setup of all this plugin because I will need a lot of minutes to walk you through it. But I'll add this blog post in the description of the video, so you can go ahead and set up your own this plugin, W3 Total Cache plus Cloudflare as CDN, and you'll be good to go, right? So that's it. Those are the tips that I had to share with you. The whole page speed process, it's you have to test stuff out, right? Um, just see how your website behaves as soon as you're applying image optimization, as you're installing the plugins that I recommend to you. So and the Minify of CSS. So see how things are improving as you're doing one of these steps. Just take a look to the performance on GTX metrics, and page speed insight, so you see that the progress is actually taking effect in your website. So hopefully these tips are useful, and yep.
Thank you so much for watching this silly video. I hope you have enjoyed these tips. Don't forget to subscribe. I'll drop the subscribe sphere somewhere here, so just smash that subscribe button. It's free. You'll get a bunch of content from me on how to create online presence and a strong online presence using social media, YouTube, and blogging. So it's a good deal. Have a fantastic rest of the week, and see you later, bro.